We're back.
We're back again for another episode of Unfiltered. I'm Amira.
I'm Raven.
This is Unfiltered. And as you can see, we have a very special guest with us today. And I don't know how many of y'all would know that October is actually Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I mean, we have our guest here. I will let her do all the talking. She does not have breast cancer, excuse me. But she is a survivor of colon cancer. And you know what? Let her introduce herself and Michelle, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi, my name is Michelle Peter, and I am a cancer survivor, colon cancer stage 3B. Just in case you all don't know, in cancer there are 3 stages in each, so stage 1 ABC to 4 ABC, and I had 3B cancer, colon cancer.
So, when you found out you had cancer, like, how was life before? Like, how was life before your diagnosis?
Well, it was the usual, fun but stressful working. I was a single parent at the time. My daughter was 9. And I was just living life, I was 37 years of age, going on 38 in a couple of months. And I was just juggling being a single parent, working, the usual. Yeah.
All right. In terms of getting diagnosed, right? Can you remember? I mean, I'm sure you can. What that experience was like when you first found out, and what your reaction was?
Okay, so before I found out, there were times when I was living my busy life, working, organizing my daughter. There were times when I went in the bathroom and I saw blood in the toilet bowl, and I just thought it was, a normal, sometimes you wipe too hard or something, and I only started to take it seriously when I started to get excruciating belly pains. And as soon as you flush the toilet, I felt normal again. So I went through the steps of, going to several doctors to do tests. And they kept telling me that I was healthy, I was very skinny, and I was very active. So they were like, oh, you're just going through a phase. I can prescribe some painkillers for you. There's nothing to worry about. And I was like, what are you prescribing me painkillers for? To treat what?
Right.
So it was a journey of you telling the doctors, no, there's something wrong, and they are just discounting it at times.
Right.
I feel like that happens so much in our healthcare system. Like, you would go in, you would tell the doctors all your symptoms, and they would just be like, oh, just brushed off as something as, a regular something as,
they'll diminish it on plate,
it takes a while for them to actually take it seriously. You have to go like multiple times, just keep going, and then eventually they'll decide to look further and do further tests, and
That's actually what happened to me. I went to this doctor and he did a pap smear for me. The sample went to Texas, came back. The doctor said, you're perfectly healthy, Michelle. There's nothing to worry about. And he gave me a big bag of painkillers and antibiotics. He said, what are we treating? He said, oh, women go through all sorts of things. And I was like, when he gave me the bag of tablets, I went back to the office and I told my manager, I said, I want to finish this report, and for the rest of the evening I want to do some research. And one of the stuff that I found out is you can do a colonoscopy. Besides pap smear, you can do a colonoscopy to find out if there's something wrong in your stomach or, bowel or whatever. Yeah. So when I did it, the specialist told me, I don't feel anything is wrong with you, but since you insist, we'll do it. And when he started, he put his colonoscopy, that's hope that you put x-ray of your anus with a camera, and they checked the
Right.
city lining of the bowel. And he told me there's a blockage, so we need to put you to sleep. And when I woke up, when he put me to sleep, when I woke up, I was on a different room in the hospital. And they said, you have cancer. So he told me a whole sort of stuff after that, but I didn't hear anything after he said that because, you know, you just hearing this echo, cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that moment, like, you know, you would hear lots of people that have cancer, and like sometimes it truly hits home, and like it's truly must have been like a really shocking moment
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, the first thing I thought about was my daughter. Being a single parent is not unusual, but she didn't have a supportive father where if anything happened to me that she would be taken care of. Unfortunately, my family life, extended family life was not tranquil. You know, there was some, you know, communication glitches,
Yeah.
some toxic behavior, and I didn't want. I honestly think that as a mother or father, you alone could give your child the best care that you possibly can. And therefore, my focus was on my daughter, and I told myself that no matter what happened, no matter what they said, that I would fight with every fiber of my being. Yeah.
I'm sure dealing with all of that, that there were times you were discouraged, and it would have been hard to just go on days a day. How did you deal with all of that? What encouraged you and motivated you in those tough times?
Well, I've always been a person that's seen, like if you have a glass of water on the table, I always see the glass half full as opposed to half empty.
Yes.
I've always been a jovial, happy, go lucky. If you put on music now, I'll be dancing, you know. So my daughter, unfortunately, she heard that I had cancer from my mom. When she answered the phone, I told her that I had cancer. My daughter, unbeknownst to any of us, she was listening in the hallway.
Oh.
And when I came home, she was visibly trembling and crying. She's like, Mommy, cancer. She was crying. She was saying, Mommy, you will die. I said, you know, instantly, even though I cried myself, I didn't want her to be scared. So I told her, oh no, baby, cancer is just a growth in your body, and they will cut it out, and then I will have to take medicine, and I will get better. Of course, all those things I was telling her was not 100% sure, but I knew that, you know, that is how she calmed down, and that's what I used, you know, just to tell her to be, you know.
And that shows such resilience, because in that moment when you're facing this big news, you still have to have a strong face for your daughter, and that's really powerful.
Yeah, and my sisters, my mom, you know, in spite of all the upheaval in between, they were supportive, you know. My daughter, children are resilient, even though they're scared, they would play and stuff. And I remember when they told me I had to do surgery. So when I did the surgery, they removed like a Subway sandwich, like a half a Subway sandwich from my colon. Yeah. And so I just, it was a journey. And when I got up from the surgery, I realized when I looked down at my stomach was lopsided. I was like, oh my God. Because like they didn't cut me, they went through my navel, medical advancement, and they take out my organ, cut it and put it back in, so it had to settle. It was a life-changing event that changed my outlook. You know, I love life, and I love new experiences. I love to be, I love to dance, I love to do everything. So I just knew that going forward, I said I will never holler again, I will never complain again. Which is not realistic, but and before I would have seen everything on the table and said, I need to get everything. The table disappeared and it was only laser focus, to get back. Yeah.
Now, like, for like, we continue on the next question, I just must say, but the time I have known Michelle, she has really been in terms the life of the party. Like,
Yeah.
Michelle will come in and she would ask you how you're going, and her baking, and she mentioned she loves to bake. Her cakes taste really, really good. And every time we come here, she must bake. Like, we appreciate that so much. So, and she's really just the life of the party, and she brings the joy into the
Yeah, like
so that, yeah.
I wanted to say too, when you said you're a glass half full person, that's something that we actually
Yes.
mentioned on that
Yes.
episode. That
Yes.
we're at a point in our lives now where we see the glass half full. So it's amazing to be talking to you and have that come on.
Yeah.
Because that's really makes the difference. That's what
You
you
ever met somebody who takes the energy out of you? After you finish talking to them, you're like, oh my
Yep.
wrap it up.
Yeah. So I also want to say that during my journey, I met a lot of amazing doctors, a lot of amazing nurses. Dr. Donna Pastor in St. James, she is an amazing doctor. She was motivational. I met her. Around the time I was diagnosed, there were about 15 other women who were diagnosed.
Okay.
And unfortunately, about half of them did not make it. I met a really, really wonderful girl. Her name was Lauren, and she had breast cancer. She did, I did chemotherapy at 12 sessions of 3-day chemotherapy. There are some people who do half-hour chemotherapy. My chemotherapy was more than 50 hours.
Wow.
Continuous infusion. So during the time I stayed at the hospital, if I go in Monday, I'm coming out on Wednesday. If I go in on Wednesday, I'm coming out on Friday.
Wow.
So I had that support of my family
Right.
to take care of my daughter in my absence.
Yeah.
And it was a life-changing way of looking at life, Instead of looking at all the issues,
Yeah.
all the things I wanted to accomplish, my whole goal was just to survive.
Yeah.
And one of the doctors, I've always wanted one-on-one child. I had my daughter, and I always wanted another child, and they told me it would not be possible to have another baby. I was 37, going on 38, and they told me I was going to menopause, and my monthlies would never come back.
Because of the chemo?
Yes.
Okay.
And at that point, when I got home, after I made my daughter feel everything was alright, when I was in the bathroom bathing, I cried because I always wanted more than one child, And glory be to God. 4 months after I stopped chemotherapy, I had a monthly flu, and I was like, yes. And I got married to my then boyfriend at the time, which is Mr. Big, right? Kimani. And 6 months after everything, I got pregnant with my son, who is now 10 years.
I can just imagine the joy that you
Yeah, I was really happy. Yeah, and 20 people on the whole, everybody is a doctor. You sure you can have a child after this thing? Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
You insane? You know you come back. You know you said there and leave that baby.
Fair.
You know that thing's still in you. And I remember thinking, I say, why don't people stop and tell me the positive story?
Yeah.
Why don't they tell me the uncle or the auntie who survived? Why are you telling me about the ones who died? Or why are you telling me that, So I have all my people. So when I found out I got pregnant, I went to a specialist. And from day one, I'm very, very sure that prenatal care is there for a reason. And while I was going through the pregnancy, I have never wanted to have a child where, you're not, the child is brain dead or anything.
Yeah.
right? So I always believe in going to pay your money for the best. And she sent it off the specialist and baby is developing beautifully, you good. And he's very, very instructive. Nobody would ever know that, that I had issues.
Right. Okay. What I want to ask is, I mean, I guess you might have kind of already answered this already. I was going to ask, what would you say is the hardest part of your journey?
The hardest part of my journey, I think, is, oh gosh, I love eating. I love baking. And the hardest thing for me is chemotherapy took away my taste buds. So there's nothing, you can taste nothing while you have this thing running through your blood. So you're smelling the barbecue, your mouth springing, watering, and I'm greedy. I love food.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're smelling roti, perception, cake, whatever. When you put that into your mouth, it tastes like cardboard, nothing. And I remember that was one of the keys to surviving cancer is in spite of you feeling nauseous, in spite of you not feeling to eat because cancer, chemotherapy is stronger than antibiotics. And a lot of people, because I had mouth ulcers, them little buttons you have inside your gum. A sip of water was excruciatingly painful. Just a sip of water. And what did I say, bad mind? Yeah, I ate and I drank. It had you feeling like rough, but I ate because I knew that my sisters who found out, not my sisters personally, but I used to call them my sisters at the hospital. The one who never used to eat and the one who was the most sick and weak.
Yeah.
Because remember, this is chemotherapy, is medicine, is also poison. That's what I heard anyhow. It kills the good cells and the bad cells. So why not make sure your body is equipped to deal with whatever else, So that's how I ate and I drank. And the hardest part for me, as well as the ulcer. The hardest part is not being able to taste your food.
Yeah.
So you mentioned in chemotherapy, right? And like eating, that was like really hard for you. So what are some of the other effects that you had with chemotherapy?
I could not go out into direct sunlight. So one of my is about 10 medicine, 10 different types of chemo, 5 to 10. And one of my symptoms, but I couldn't go out into the hot sun and I couldn't go into air conditioning. So you're seeing this girl walking in the hot sun with an umbrella and a big sweat and people looking at you like, what are you doing? And I actually used to see people staring like, but you know why?
Yeah.
Because when I carried my daughter to a Chinese restaurant and we were having a discussion, walking and talking, and I had my hands on the table looking at her eating. And when it was time to get up off of the table, I couldn't get, my hand couldn't stretch out because it froze. So I had to go out into the normal atmosphere and wait until my limb tore out. And then I was able to move. So, and it used to, when I went to True Valley, my skin had pinpricks from the air conditioner. There are a lot of little things.
Yeah.
My skin had little buttons, and as I say, I had ulcers. I didn't lose my hair, but it became thin.
Okay.
Right? Some of my friends who got diagnosed with colon cancer, their hair had to shave off, but not me. But ultimately, I never regretted doing. There was a person, I had a coworker who got angry with me, like real angry. He was like, why don't you do herbal? Why are you going to put this thing in your body? And I was like, I am going to prescribe a route. There's a path that I have to go. I'm seeing the route that the doctor has shown me. And I'm going with an open mind and with everything in my being to survive. I did my research, and most of the people who did herbs only, unfortunately, it didn't work for them.
Glad you did what was right for you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to, at the end of the day, you will hear everybody telling you
Different.
what they think and what they, but
You
you,
have to follow your
yeah,
heart.
yeah, yeah, I believe that, yeah.
What do you think? And I feel like you may have answered this already, right? But what do you think helped you through this journey the most? Like, if you had to choose like one thing, because I know you said you got the support of your family and your friends. So, like, what? Yeah, what would you say?
I can say 5 things. 5 things. I know you asked me for one.
Yeah.
No,
You can
you
answer.
can, you can,
Yes, yeah.
you can go
So
ahead.
one, believe in God. They say I'm not a church goer where I go to church every day.
Yeah.
But they say once you have, there's a verse in the Bible, I don't even say it properly. They say once you have faith as small as a mustard seed,
Right.
you can move mountains. So I believe in that one.
Yeah.
The other thing is belief in yourself. Like as an individual, you have to actually, each person, Paul, Peter, Jenny, and Mary, will have different circumstances, but you have to believe in yourself. 3, my daughter, she was a big motivator for me, pushing and fighting. Besides the fact that I love life, I also didn't want her to be at the mercy of circumstances, The other thing is, wanting a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
That's really.
that. Okay. So what I wanted to ask is, what did your experience with cancer teach you? Whether it's like something new about yourself, and you did talk about it change your perspective in life, so you could, something else about like how you used to think before and then how you started thinking after.
Okay, so I can tell you that it's been 13 years, 37 going on 38. I just turned 50 on Sunday. And what I can say is that there's this spark. They call it, some people call it soul, some people call it spirit. There's a spark in each one of us. I believe that what makes you a mirror makes you a mirror. What makes you river makes you river. And I've always been pro everything. If you like to party, I like that. If you like to anything, so I believe that that spark within me cannot be extinguished. I thought that after having cancer, or after going through that, I will never complain again. I will never do this again. I will live life on the whole. If you didn't have a house before, you say, if I have a house, I'll be perfectly happy. When you get a house, you want to paint it, you want to put on the proof, you want to buy this, you want to buy that. So I believe that a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one footstep. I will never stop stepping. So that is my mantra.
Yeah.
A journey of 1,000 miles begin with one footstep, and that's how I live my life. Learning is continuous.
Yeah.
So even when I'm in my 70s or my 80s, my children might be like, oh God, mommy, what kind of thing is that? Because I still want to learn how to do the 50 young people dance. She'll be like, mommy, I know how to do that. I say, I'm making it up, So I believe that you,
Yes.
that you
Yeah.
is making you love, enjoy life.
Yeah. I love how you have such a positive outlook to life. And you're just such a positive person despite all the hardships that you went through. And I really admire that about you.
Thank you.
What?
Inspirational.
It really is inspirational. And I feel like this is a message for everybody to listening. You really need to believe in yourself, and that you don't let anybody take away that you from you.
Yeah.
Because everybody is different. And everybody has their own thing that makes them special, and that shine and that spark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really that spark. I feel like sometimes you might find your spark years later on in life, you know, it might take a while to find your stuff.
Yeah.
But like once you do find it, you really can't extinguish it.
You know, as you were talking, I remember as a child, so I was, besides having cancer, I was born with bilateral cleft lip and cleft palate. That is where your two lips not joined, and I had a palate. So when you put your tongue on top, there was a big hole on top, right? And I had to have operations. In primary school, children used to harass me, call you names because you have scars from your surgeries. In secondary school, you would be bought at you. There was some children who went out of their way to be mean, right? And there was always something in me that I liked what I saw in the mirror. I believe the first step in overcoming anything is still seeing something that you can fight for, right? So even in spite of this one, if I have a speech defect, and it never stopped me from getting boyfriends, it never stopped me from doing anything in life. I've been married twice, I had several boyfriends, so I believe that confidence, when you wear that confidence, there's nothing that can take away from that life.
Yeah.
So that's what I can take away and tell you that, in spite of whatever, anything you're dealing with, once you have that will, and you can see something that is worth fighting for, fight. Yeah.
And the power of perspective too.
Yeah.
Your perspective, not just on life, but on yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, believe in yourself and believe that you were strong enough to fight through, like, things might have been different.
Oh yeah, because there was this girl I'll never forget. She came in and to the hospital. We used to share rooms. So I was in 2 beds in a room. And this girl, when she came in, she said she wants her own room. She put a curtain up by the doorway. And she never came out for lunch, never came out for whatever have you. She just isolated herself.
Yeah.
She stand by the trays of food. The nurses used to tell me, well, my name was Michelle Homer at the time because I was married to my daughter's father. Well, I kept his name and I was divorced from him. And they always used to be like, Miss Homer, that room making real noise because you used to have people laughing and joking. Because, hello, you're already sick.
Yeah.
The first time I went to the hospital, I went with some granny 90, and I had my hair, my face oily. You have the trips, and you have the trolley, and you're looking when I'm walking around, you're looking like, every time I look at myself, I say, see this? The next time I come into the hospital, I'm going to dress up. I walk with 3 wigs, I walk with a makeup,
Yeah.
I dress up. So I remember I used to stay there for 3 days, every 2 weeks. Every day they ask me, you're going home today, Michelle? No, I just dress up, And I think that made me better just because I felt swampy, I was swampy.
That hurt within you. That's you. And you kept resilient in that time, even though, despite everything. That's really wonderful.
There were some people who were upset. They found that if you are, I used to water lime and stuff, stress up myself. When you have chemotherapy, there was after the chemotherapy, there was some big burns on your skin. Right? I used to dress up and go out with my friends in the night, not drinking. I mean, after so how it used to happen, when you did the chemotherapy, the first 3 to 5 days, you feel drawn and tired. But I never let that stop me. I used to say, when they call me, hey, you're ready, we come and pay. Hey, say no more, I'm ready. And my mom used to say, but you're sick. I say, yes, but sickness is a state of mind. I'm not going to be sit down and looking depressed. And I used to dress up and rock out me and my daughter dancing and thing, So it's all in the way how you process what you're going through that would ultimately, give you the motivation to continue. That's what I thought.
There's all of this confidence. All of this confidence. Were you always such a confident person?
Well, no. When I was in school, I was shy. When I say shy, I was very talkative among my friends,
Yeah.
but there was some, not bullies, but there were some people in my school who were very strong-willed, and
Yeah.
so I never used to come out of myself. When I started, when I left school at 17, going on 18, there was a day I walked out the room, and there were some guys who heckled me, and I was feeling so uncomfortable. I was like, my God. And they were not kind.
Yeah.
They were saying some mean things. And when I went home, I remember crying and saying, why people are like that? And then I was like, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I said, Michelle, if you don't like you, who the hell will like you? I said, one day you want to be a mom, so you have to start building the personality and the person who you want to be. So
Yeah.
that the person, whatever you become, that person that your daughter or your son needs, that they can see somebody who likes themselves. And that is how, now I always use, as I said, I always had an optimistic outlook. But I started to act and walk.
Yeah.
Walk and, yeah.
Action is important.
Yeah.
I feel like there's such a visible difference
Yeah.
in people, like, rather, like, when they're confident with someone not confident,
Yes.
they walk into you, like, it just emits from it. You
Yeah.
could feel it, because, like, when she walks in the room, like, for the party, joy. You know, like, when certain people enter the room, they just give off this.
It's vibes. Like
Yes.
it's usually so casually, but we don't always think about what we see. And people like,
Mhm.
I feel a bad vibe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is energy you're picking up on.
Yeah.
You ever met somebody and you're like,
Yeah, nah.
or
On the cameras.
when they leave end up, it's real cool, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can feel it.
Yeah,
Same
you know. So
I remember I had this friend, right? And we were friends. We kind of cut off each other. We started back talking. And then like I realized after every interaction, I was just feeling completely drained. And like it's nothing like I've ever felt before. And when I eventually ended up cutting her off, it was like I felt,
Weight lifted.
yeah. So that's so true.
unfortunately, we have now life is not all roses, and you know we know there are times when no matter how positive you are, life is life,
Yeah.
and there are times when if something happens and I'm really upset, like right now, I am 50, so I'm going through menopause, right? Never would I have thought that I would have been going through menopause, right? It's like, so you just turned 25,
25,
and
yeah.
you're 24. So when I was just those ages, I never thought about tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there was a time, about 2 years ago, I ended up in the emergency in the hospital with a full-blown 100% anxiety attack. I thought I was having a heart attack. It was all out, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I have so much to live for. As I said, I thought I was having a heart attack. I said, I have so much to live for. I'm not ready to go, saying all these things. And after, when I found out that was one symptom of menopause, I was like, now I understand why these older women is be so sour. You ever met some older people and it's like,
Like,
why are they getting all like that? Yeah, but I try not to, you know, impose my, you know, their ups and downs, but I try to look at it in a way where I didn't have to be here. It's 13 years after cancer, I'm here still, and my son is 10, and my husband, my daughter, everybody is supportive, and I try to look at it and say, glass half full, not half empty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I'm just still enjoying listening to Michelle talk right
Yeah.
now.
No, honestly, because it's not often that you meet older people who, like, I guess, have their head on. I don't know. Like, I've met some inspirational older people, but they're not always this open,
Yes,
especially to like the energy of things, the positivity.
that's true. I feel like a lot of older generation is very stuck in their ways and like close-minded.
Yeah,
And it's really a breath of fresh air to meet
yeah.
older people that has the same outlook
As
on
you,
life as
yeah.
you as a younger person.
Yeah, but the thing is, what you have to understand is everything that you are going through, or have gone through, or will go through, I went through, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter, she's 22 now. And last week I went to a party for my birthday. I am not going to be like, oh God, I reached 50, I'm going to sit on a rocking chair. Hello. Hello. Even when I'm 70, I want to be able to line, have fun, be in the mood.
Yeah.
A lot of times, when you reach a certain age, you don't want to learn anything anymore. You just stagnant.
Close off. Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
As you think your openness is what is
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my daughter tells me I'm too open.
Listen, as long as you keep being genuinely you,
Yeah.
like that's the most important thing. Like it doesn't matter as long as whatever you feel comfortable to immerse into the world or whatever
Yeah,
you
no,
want
my
to
daughter tells me I'm extra sometimes. So, you know, and I tell her that
Yeah,
won't be
yeah.
her.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, what changes did you feel led to make in your life in the process of your recovery? So, like every day, from like the day-to-day things you would do. So I know you're saying not like really a religious person.
No,
So to say,
I don't. So
Yes.
So I have spirituality.
Yeah.
I don't I don't fellowship in church to say, and I'm not a Bible quoter to say,
Yeah.
you know. However, I do believe in God. I do believe there's a higher being. I do believe that's why I'm here today.
Right.
What I can say though is there are a lot of people who go to church every day. They can quote scripture, but they're not religious or they're not spiritual
Not
because
spiritual,
they,
yeah.
they go to church to look down on you and I because we're not doing the right thing. Or I don't believe in that. I
Yeah.
believe that. So when my daughter comes and tells me certain things that is going through,
Yeah.
or she is going through, or if you come to me or you come to me anytime, Auntie X, Y, and Z, I can connect with you because I see you as being a human being, not because you're younger than me that you're not
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
And my son, he's 10, but ever since he's been small, if I find I overreact or I did something that is not right, I will apologize to a 5-year-old.
That is a huge
Yeah.
thing. That is
Apologize, then it's not gonna make you weaker, you know.
Yeah.
It's just acknowledging that you can be wrong too, and that's what I believe. Because that long-time parents, spare the rod and spoil the child.
she's literally just
Oh my God.
mentioning everything we talked about in podcast
All
before.
they want
I
to
feel like
do,
this is a full circle moment.
Yeah.
all they want to do is beat you or
Control. Yeah.
control you, and
Yeah.
they accident to the wound to your age. I remember
true.
there was this lady, her skin and used to go down by her ankle, and she always judgmental. And I remember somebody saying, you see, she was a real goddess when she was young, and I was like, really?
Yeah, most of the times I feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
So why judge?
Yeah.
Tell them, for me, if I see my daughter or her friend or whatever, and they say, Auntie, this is going on, I'll be like, be careful because X, Y, and Z happened when I tried it or whatever.
Just share your
It's not about
experiences.
acting as though,
Yeah.
it's not about acting as though I never did that before. It's so, to me, my daughter, I trained her just in case I didn't survive.
Mm.
So I was more open with her than the average parent.
Right.
and I told her certain things I was like that the average parent do.
Wouldn't, yeah.
Right? Because I believe that as young people, you need to be armed with the truth. Not only the truth, but you need to be armed with knowledge so that if somebody comes to tell you, hey, if you put that there, you know, you will be able to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe in knowledge too.
Yeah.
I think what I could say, like I realize, I think a lot of our parents, they, with the fear of us experiencing certain things, they try to hide it from us.
Yeah.
And
They
they
will
try
still
to
try not
keep
to.
us from making the same quote unquote mistakes.
Yeah, but that's
right? But that just makes everything worse.
Yeah.
I think being such an open person, that's your
is
relationship with your
the-
daughter and your children so much, because I'm sure they could now feel free to come
Come
to you.
Anything.
Talk to you
I
about
told them
anything.
there's nothing under the sun or the moon that they could ever come and tell me that would not make me love them.
Mhm.
I said, God forbid, if you kill somebody, I will still be with you, still be there with you. If you come and you tell me that you're gay, that's okay, I love you still. If you come and you tell me you're on drugs, I don't want that for you, but I will understand.
Right.
And I believe that that is one of the things that a lot of parents fail by, is by becoming judgmental and not understanding that each generation different. The long time music, right? When they say, put your head on the pillow, it's them long time music, right? When my daughter is listening to things sometimes I be like, what are you gonna say? Just go, what are you?
Good.
And
Good.
yeah, and the way how these songs and things now, they have some of them I real dancing to. Hey, my daughter, the mom, you know the man saying just now, when he touched it, I'm like, oh my God. But the rhythm
Mhm.
is nice, you know, so you could, you could bridge the gap by trying to understand. Because I think nowadays, the parents that I grew up with, they believe that if you don't do X, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You have to do it this way or it's wrong.
Yeah.
No, everybody different. And maybe you might start off with A and the right way is X. That's okay. You'll reach there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's a journey.
That is true to you.
Exactly.
Not because I want to impose my will.
Okay. So, what would you say to somebody who just received a cancer diagnosis, or to somebody who's already in the process of treatment?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to tell anybody who's experiencing any kind of symptom, any kind of thing that is not normal, that the only thing you will hear if you go and do a test is yes or no. And when you find out yes or no, then you will know what you will have to do. So for me, the biggest thing for me is to find out what I was facing. And when they told me I was stage 3, I was like, what does this mean? Does this mean I will die? The probability is, they said people in stage 1 die. I said, okay, I started research. Research is different. So a doctor will tell you X, Y, Z, you also have to go and do your homework.
Right.
Because Amira might bounce her toe, and she will get a cut on one side of her toe, and you will bounce the same stone and get on the next toe.
Right.
So I believe that knowledge is power, and if you are diagnosed with anything, you are privileged to be able to know, so that you know what to do. There are a lot of people who go to the toilet, and they see things that are not normal. They might see blood, they might see stuff, feel pain in any part of the body, and they hide it, right? Or they're afraid to go and find out. To me, the biggest and the best thing you can do is to go to find out. And when you find out, the doctors and the specialists will be able to tell you what are the next things. So first thing first, find out. Yeah. Don't be afraid to go to find out what is going on.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times people say, Google is not a doctor, don't Google anything, you know, like face and names or whatever. But sometimes Google is really the internet is such a huge tool
That is how I
to,
found out.
to find out.
That is how I
Yeah.
found out to go and do a colonoscopy. The doctor did not tell me
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
doctor did not tell me that.
That's
I think it's how you approach it too. Because as with everything, if you approach with fear, yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So some people, you Google it and it's like, oh gosh, it might be this. Or like, and you're just
Yeah.
spiraling going down. So that's
Actually,
not
there was a time when I nearly freaked out myself because they were showing percentages of
right.
if
Yeah.
you are stage 1, there's a certain percentile rate of success.
Right.
By the time I reached the stage 3, I was like, oh my god,
So if you're not careful, you could like,
You can
pull
share
in those-
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you already think it hopeless, but no,
Yeah.
And that's where the glass half full
will come in. Yeah.
come in. Because I'm sure this you exactly having that perspective helped you through this journey. And I mean, it's really sometimes a hard path to finding yourself and going on that whole journey. And again, it's so great to have you here talking about all of this, and like especially what our podcast is about.
Yeah.
Like I know what you were coming here to talk about, but I feel like you're such a perfect
Yeah.
fit.
No, honestly.
Because like things that we talked about in previous
Yeah.
episodes,
It came
you literally
alignment
exactly
was-
the
Yeah.
alignment.
Because I mean, we know we come in here to talk about your experience with cancer, but then
Yes.
just through hearing your perspective on life, that's the fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, unfortunately, long ago, cancer was a stigma. Any
Yeah.
kind of illness was a stigma. So I don't know if you ever hear what your mom or your uncle or your granny say, Fred went into the hospital and he taken and he never came out.
Yeah.
He taken, right?
Taken,
It's
yeah.
because all the time Fred may have been experiencing a lot of symptoms and he never went because he was scared. And I think fear is the enemy in terms of you being afraid has paralyzed you from going forward to find out what is really. I thought it was my womb, so I did a pap smear. And the doctor gave me painkillers, even though my pap smear came back perfect. Had I just taken those pills, which were painkillers, where would I have been today? You
Yeah.
understand? So you also have to have that inner you.
Intuition, yeah.
Yeah, inner you talking to say, hey,
Yeah, no.
and some people put doctors like demigods, right?
Yes.
So if the doctor say this
This?
is that,
Yeah.
you also have to have that ability to question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like a lot of time the fear keeps us from like simple like you or I, anybody, like from going to visit the doctor because you're just so afraid of the doctor might say
Knowing the
a
answer.
bad thing,
Yeah.
knowing the answer. But at the same time you're just keeping back yourself from getting diagnosed and getting healthier. Because sometimes all that time you're taking to
Yeah,
go
things
and
get
just
worse.
take a visit. Exactly, it's getting
Yeah,
worse.
it is because according to the illness that you have, it is progressing in your body. Let's just say your fingertip is sick, right? You take 6 months to go and check that fingertip. By that time, your whole hand is sick.
Yeah.
So you keep on spreading and you're not being able to, sometimes financially it's very hard because in the public system you go,
Yeah.
the machine down. You're taking a couple of months, so it's really hard.
So what would you say to someone or to people who are healthy but they take that health for granted?
I would say that people are reactive. So let me tell you what I mean. I cannot sign language. I cannot do sign language. But had I had my daughter or my son be born deaf or mute, I would have learned to sign language.
Yeah.
So the example I'm making is that until you are faced with something,
Yeah.
a lot of times people don't just get up and say, you know what, I'm going for a full medical because that is expensive.
Yeah.
So you will just, if you're not feeling sick, when you have working well, very seldom people go on private car to check up
Yeah.
if they don't need to. There are some people who every 6 months they do
Right.
maintenance. So
Yeah.
what I would tell anybody is if you are able to, why not take a test? Go to do a follow up every year. Every year, you have and you don't have to do invasive. You can do a blood test and find out if you have cancer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you have so many different advancements in technology,
So
in
true.
medical now.
Yeah.
So let's use it.
That's so true. I mean, the world is ever so changing.
Yeah.
It's been changing now, and it's so great to see there's so many medical advancements.
Yeah.
And it's really a boom for everything. And sometimes it's a little scary to put your faith in the hands of someone. Like, I'm sure it must have been scary to know, like, you're literally putting your life in the hands of your doctors.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how that whole process must have been for you. I mean,
Well, I met some wonderful doctors along the way, but there were some who spoke about you around you. So you were in the room invisible and they talked to the interns and
Right.
stuff. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the mission that you were seeing was smiling and stuff. I had to put one of them in his place and say, "Hello, you need to talk to me, I'm right here." And I had all the attitude in me. He said, "Do you understand that I'm helping you?" I said, "If you are helping me, talk to me like if I'm here, I'm a person, Not because you are helping, that means you can talk down to me." So unfortunately, we have some professionals who are not very professional in their business.
that's not true.
But not many. Thank God I didn't meet many of them.
Yeah. Those tend to lose their heart in certain professions. It's just like, you're following the.
And then there's a
So,
hierarchy.
yeah.
Then there's a hierarchy in the hospital where the head doctor is like the demigod, and all the interns have to, they're just waiting to be singled out and, to try to please.
Yeah.
So they lose that human element. You gone to hospital and seen some nurses and doctors who want them to you.
Oh, yeah.
No. And then there are others, they're so nice, they make you feel like, wow, I wish I could, thank this person for being so nice. Yeah. I guess there are just people like you and I, you meet some nice ones and you meet some not so nice.
The full spectrum.
Yeah. I feel like I was thinking about, like as you're growing up, you think about what fields you might want to get into, and like obviously, first thing your family will put across doctor. And
I was
it's like
never interested in
the thought of becoming, what's the hardest
Yeah,
part for me? Not even seeing the blood or nothing like that. The part is going to these people and treating these people and seeing all the emotion come out of it and seeing how these people react if you're going to be treating a person you know that they are dying. Like, all of that emotion is just a lot. And I feel like, I'm no doctor, I'm not anything, but I feel like that's like one of the hardest things as a doctor to go through.
Well, I've been privileged. So I cannot deal with the blood and the pus but I've been privileged to be able to talk to other people who have been diagnosed. So people who know there's this thing called Caribbean Cancer Research Initiative. And I was one of the first case studies where I gave interviews and they used my picture, and several persons, family, friends, people who I don't even know, they would call me and say, "Hey, I got your number from somebody. I just found out I had cancer. Can you give me an idea?" So, because I heard that you went on to make a baby. So I am an ambassador. I call myself an ambassador, meaning, so no matter who it is, people would stop me Oh no, I have an interview on Facebook. One of my, I was 9 and I was pregnant with Keanu. She was 10. And I was telling myself, when people stop you, hey, I saw your interview on Facebook. And I said, if it was something for me to hide, I would be so ashamed if you find,
Yeah.
That is why you have to be so careful what you post.
So
Because
true.
let's just say it was something that I was ashamed of
Yeah.
or a scandal. 10 years down the road, people
People will
stopping it.
still, yeah. Social media
Yeah,
is
right,
still.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I mean, people especially in the age of technology we live now, everything is on the internet forever.
Mhm.
So you have to be so careful about what you're posting or putting online because people are quick some needles.
For real. Yeah. And it's dangerous, because let's just say today you're 25 and 24. Tomorrow you'll be somebody's mommy, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
And let's just say they go to school and this child says something that you didn't even know
Goes
that
on.
is still
Yeah.
there. So it's dangerous.
That's so true. Michelle, it was a pleasure.
It really was.
As a
Thank you for
guest.
having me.
We couldn't. I mean, for our first guest,
Yeah.
I think,
This was
guys, I think we
exceptional.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle, maybe you'll be on the podcast later on again. I mean, you know what? Maybe for some other topic that some mental health topic or something that we're talking about because I mean,
Yeah.
the way that she actually flawlessly did this interview as well.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I was stumbling at times, like, what do I ask her? How do I ask her this? How do I ask her that? Like, what do I ask her? And she just, any question you ask her, she's like, at the
And
tip
it's the
of her-
authenticity because
Yeah.
it's coming from you. So
That's
you don't have to
it.
stop and
Yeah.
think and
That's
It's
why I
just
didn't write anything.
natural.
That's why I
Yeah.
didn't write anything because I knew everything. Any topic under the sun, once you are aware of life, you can answer. So,
That's true. The awareness.
yeah.
Awareness.
It's-
Yeah. Perspective and awareness. And all of these things intertwine with each other. And like, I'm loving so far how every single episode of the podcast
It just
everything
meshes, yeah.
just flowing into each other. And I love that. I mean, everything is not perfect, but right now
But
it's not perfect.
We're building.
And
Yeah.
it's, every episode is just getting better
That's
and
what
better.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say, like side note, thank you to everyone for listening and supporting us thus far. I really do appreciate it. Like, we've been getting a lot of comments on our social media, and like people replying, like responding, to us and,
Relating
like,
and,
relating to us. And I feel that makes me feel so great. And like I was saying, to be relatable and to feel relatable is to also be seen.
Yeah.
And
And make people feel seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to feel seen. Everybody wants to feel seen. So I'm just
Thankful.
thankful. I'm sorry, I feel like sometimes I don't want to say like I'm thankful too much. I feel like at the end of the
There's no
podcast, I
limit.
always have to
Yeah,
say
no, the
I
gratitude.
thank you because I'm genuinely
Yeah.
so grateful
Overflowing.
for everything. It's like I don't care if I need to say it. Like every single episode,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Thank you
guys,
for listening
yeah,
and watching.
Thanks for having me, guys.
it was definitely a pleasure.
Until next time.
Yeah. Until next time. Bye guys.